What's up, guys? Doing a little night drive tonight. Got somewhere to go. Was thinking about something. Thought I'd pull out the old phone and talk about a subject. Talked about this before at length. It's the mixing of the red pill, which is just the truth, with like PUA concepts and game and like self-help motivation kind of crap, right? Now, I've said this before and I'll say it again, that stuff can work. Like game can work, self-help motivation can help you get motivated, hit the gym, make more money, etc. That's fine, that's all fine and good. But when you parallel it along with the red pill truths, it's disconcerting. It's like two different messages wrapped in one. And I hear this a lot, and it misleads a lot of guys, because there's a lot of young guys out there who take the red pill, accept the red pill, compare their experiences with other men in the red pill's experiences and say, hey, yeah, this is true. This is real. This is something that I'm experiencing. This is something that I'm going through. This is this is the real truth. But then you got guys at the top, your Rollo Tomasis, your Fresh and Fits, guys who are in the forefront. Bulldog mindset. Well, he's not really he's not really red pill. He's more just self-help motivation. But there's a lot of guys who are juxtaposing the red pill truths along with this kind of get better, do better. Richard Cooper is one of them, entrepreneur in cars, right? These guys who are the most popular YouTubers, the most popular in the manosphere. 21 Studios does it too, right? They mix self-help, self-improvement, and 21 Studios is a really good example because they mix traditional stuff with the red pill truths. They mix trad, conservative kind of ideals with the red pill, and it's like, when you really understand female nature and you really understand the red pill, all of that other stuff is like, whoa, I don't know if any of this is even worth it. I don't know if any of the, and I'm not touting MGTOW necessarily. Is it MGTOW? Yeah, men going their own way, like totally walking away from women. I've always been on the fence. It's like, should we totally walk away from women? I mean, female nature is self-serving. Female nature is solipsistic. I heard a Mike Tyson quote actually recently. Mike Tyson said, when your mother loves you, she loves you for your survival. When a woman loves you, she loves you for her survival. Think about that for a second. Mike Tyson said that. I like Mike Tyson. He's got a lot of wisdom, he's always had a lot of wisdom, but he's got more wisdom in the last, decade. But he said that when your mother loves you, it's for your survival, your own good. When a woman loves you, it's for her survival, her own good. We have to take into account these red pill truths. That's female nature. It's self-serving. It's solipsistic. It's all about her, right? So how can you juxtapose and mix in traditional conservative ideals, which I'm for, and I've said this on my channel before, I'm for those ideals. I think people should get married as opposed to going out and sleeping around. In the grand scheme of things, it's better for society, it's better for children. But if you're really deep into the red pill and you're really deep into the truth, and you realize, even Paul the Apostle was talking about this in 1 Corinthians. He was talking about how if you get married, you're going to suffer, you're going to be worried and concerned about how how to please your spouse. Now, I get it. You go back to Genesis, and God says it's not good for man to be alone. I get that, and I get it sucks being lonely. But the modern woman and maybe just female nature always, and this is something that I've never been able to reconcile. Why, if God said it's not good for us to be alone, did he create women to be so batshit crazy? Did he create women to be so problematic? Why? And that's something I've been bouncing around for years, in my head and in my heart. I don't know. But I know there's a lot of people out there who do get married and do settle down and do kind of, live okay and in their comfortable lives, and their wives and husbands help each other, and maybe it's ideal. I don't know, but there's problems, But again, with the modern woman, it's like, what do you get? What do you get? You get used goods. You get a woman who oftentimes thinks that she's the queen and she's running the show. You get a woman who's controlling, manipulative, lying, used to doing that because that's what you got to do in the dating game when you're a woman. You got to, portray yourself as something you're not, manipulate. You become jaded. You learn how to lie and get out of things easily. That's all part and parcel of being a single female in the sexual market, dating, whatever. And I don't care if they're Christian or not. Like in today's day and age, they're all sleeping around. There's no one out there who's a virgin. There's no one out there who's not tainted. Even under 5 body count, it's like that's extremely rare. And I'll take that. Like, okay, you've only been with 3 guys. You dated 3 guys since high school. You're 26, 27. I might take that. That's decent. As opposed to some woman who's like, yeah, I've been at the club for the last 10 years and my body count's in the 300-400s. It's like, there's women out there like that all over. You don't know. And I dated a girl who was like super amiable, super accommodating, super kind, sweet at first. And then all of a sudden she was totally different. And I learned out she was a covert narcissist. And it took me 5 years to get over that relationship, right? You never know. And I dated this girl for like 3 or 4 years before I found out she was sick. And before I found out she was a manipulator and a liar and cheating on me and this, that, and the third, right? Very common. So guys, have these experiences. We know that this is what kind of women are out there. And then you got guys like Rollo Tomasi's or who's, and they're talking about, oh yeah, it's easy to go get girls and do this, and you just got to be game. And they juxtapose the truths that we're all experiencing: female nature, this, lying, that, cheating, body count, all this stuff that we talk about. They juxtapose that with, oh, improve yourself, become the best version of yourself, and it's like, I'm for that too. Like, good, hit the gym, make more money, great, I'm for that. But don't do it so that you can get quote unquote higher value women, because that's playing into the very thing that you're exposing. You sit around and say like, oh, hypergamy this, women are hypergamous, da 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 da, and then you turn around and you play into hypergamy when you're like, oh, improve yourself so you can get a high value woman. That's playing into hypergamy, and women are just like, ha ha ha, look at what these guys are doing. Yeah, it's like they're always winning. Like they're always winning. Even when we're exposing them, right? They're still winning because we can't get away from our sex drive. We can't get away from our need and desire for intimacy and sex. And so we try to enhance ourselves and improve and this, that, and the third. For what? For a woman who's used, and right? So it's like there's no accountability, and what I don't like is these guys who are playing into the same things that they're talking down against by giving guys this hope, and it's this weird kind of gaslighting almost. It's like a paradox, but it's not a paradox because it doesn't make sense. In the end, it's like you're improving so that you can get a woman, but the women aren't changing. No one's teaching the women like, hey, don't go be a skank. Hey, be a honorable, honest, truthful woman who has character, who knows how to treat a man well, who knows how to love a man. Where are those women at? But the focus is always on the man. Oh, the man's got to improve. The man's got to do this. The man's got to do that. And you'll hear this from the same guys who are exposing female nature. It's like a weird, paradoxical thing where they're like, but it's not a paradox, because even paradoxes make sense. It doesn't make sense. You're saying one thing and then you're saying another thing. You're saying you're exposing something, right? You're exposing the female nature, and then you're uplifting the thing that makes the female nature bad. It's like Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate is like, oh yeah, I'm here to say that men got it hard, and men are out here really struggling. The average man, gets no women, and da 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 da. And then yet he made a whole career out of selling sex to the average man with his whole cam girl thing. It's like, How does that work? You're an advocate. You're like Robin Hood for the average man, except you're not, because you've exploited the average man. You've taken money from the average man by exploiting his desire for intimacy, because that's all cam. The only difference between pornography and cam girls is that you actually have interaction with the cam girl. She reads what you're saying, and this is why guys pay big money for cam girls, is because they're like, oh, she's reading what I'm saying. She's doing what I'm asking her to do. There's some kind of interaction there. That's what men are paying for, the interaction. They're not paying for her to be naked. They're not paying for to see, her nice body or whatever, because you can get that for free on porn. What they're paying for is the interaction. It's the same with OnlyFans. They're paying for... There's some semblance of intimacy. Oh, she knows I exist and she's doing something that I'm asking her to do. Therefore, there's some semblance of intimacy there. That's what Andrew Tate exploited. And yet he's also posturing himself as a champion for the average man. That's disingenuous. That's hypocritical. That doesn't make sense. Right? And it's the same with these guys like Rollo Tomassi's and then the Richard Coopers, who are like, oh yeah, just step your game up, and then you'll get a higher caliber woman. It's like, that's your answer to all this bullshit that we're talking about? No, the real answer is that we need better families. We need better fathers. We need checks and balances in society where women take a second look and say, hey, maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I shouldn't go be a skank for 10 years until I want to get married, till I feel like it's time to settle down. Maybe I should work on my character. Maybe I should pursue God. Maybe I should learn how to treat a man right so I could be a quality wife. None of that is being instilled. These guys aren't talking about that. Why? Because it's not their audience. Their audience is hurt men, and they're exploiting hurt men, and it's sad. It's like, you should be doing the red pill for free because it's the truth. It's the truth. Instead, you're making money off book sales. You're making money off TED Talks and endorsements and all this other stuff that you guys are... That these top tier guys in the manosphere are profiting off of from men's pain. And it's like, it's weird. So I heard this guy saying like, oh yeah, all you got to do is like, here's a guy, that I was talking to who's like super red pilled. In fact, it's even in his bio. So I'm talking to this guy on social media, and it's like, he's got red pill in his bio name, right? In his name, it says something like the red pillar or something, right? And I'm talking to this guy, and he's like, oh yeah, well, you should still go out and like have a girlfriend and get laid and stuff. And I'm like, what? Like, and like, I'm like, oh yeah, it's just that easy, huh? And he's like, yeah, you just go find a decent girl. And I'm like, so your whole like shtick online is like a red pill guy, and yet at the same time you believe you can just go out and like find a quality girl. It's like, oh, just like that, huh? You can, just like that, you can go out and find a quality girl, for dating or sex or whatever you're talking about here. Just like that, like, oh, there's no problems with that. Like, there's no possibility of any problems there, huh? And it's like, I thought about it and I was like, the reason why this guy thinks that, even though he full on calls himself a red pillar, and I followed his stuff, and like, he talks about really good stuff. Like, he's like, yeah, women shouldn't be leading, the relationship, and all the stuff that we talk about in the red pill, how masculinity is important, how like this, that, and the third. And I'm like, he's right on in like everything he says. But then he says this one thing where it's like, I realize, oh, you think this whole other thing, even though you have all these truths, you still think all this is like accessible, for the right guys. It's because you've been fed this stuff for the last 10 years by guys like Rollo Tomassi and Richard Cooper, who are putting out this stuff like, oh, just improve your outer appearance, game, learn how to peacock, learn how to be confident like an alpha male, and woo. This mixture of the truth of the red pill with self-help, self-improvement, poo crap. And you realize like, oh, well, that's what these guys are digesting. And so it makes sense that guys would think that. It makes sense that these guys, and you're like, what about that whole part where like, how are you going to find a decent woman? What about that whole part where like all these women are used goods? What about that whole part where like You could get an STD. What about the whole part where like you could totally get into a jacked up situation with a lying, manipulative woman? Like none of that matters. Oh, just go out and get like, he literally said like, what did he say? He said, oh, it's easy. You just go out and even though we're like, we have these red pill truths, we could definitely just go out and I think he said something like, you need to, know what it's like to date a woman. You need to know, you need to get that experience and And I'm like, first of all, like most guys probably do. Yeah, there's guys out there who are virgins, and like these guys out there who are virgins and don't have any experience with women, they actually can't relate with the red pill, because the red pill is largely learned from subjective firsthand experience through dating and through actually interacting with women. Which is a common misconception a lot of people have about red pill guys, is that they're just like kissless virgins and they got no experience. It's like, no, I became a red pill because I've had 20 years of experience dating women. Like that's how I got red pilled, because, and I probably wouldn't be red pilled if I didn't. I'd probably be blue pilled or maybe purple pilled. I did consider myself purple pill for a while, but that's a, whole nother story. But yeah, I'd probably be blue pilled. If I didn't have any experience dating. Like you get red pilled, you get radicalized, quote unquote, so to speak, because you're in the dating game and you're like, oh, this is what it really is. This is how they really are. This is how they really act. This is how they're really deceptive. This is how they're really manipulative. This is how they really lie. This is how they really cheat. Like this is how they really are. And then you can go out and listen to a red pill guy talk about all this stuff and totally relate. That's why the red pill is so popular, because this is the truth. Guys, relate with the truth. We Cohen hair parallel, whatever word you want to use, we can relate with it. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. So it's no wonder guys are using the red pill to make money, because it's our experience, right? So, not to take away from the truths these guys speak, your Rollo Tomasis, your Richard Coopers, your Donovan Sharps, your 21 Studios, Fresh and Fits, whatever. They speak the highest truths. Kevin Samuels, they speak the highest truths, and their truths are real, but they're almost always juxtaposing it with this do better, hit the gym, make more money, woo crap. And I get why they're doing that, because that's enticing to men. That's, you get more bees with honey than you do with vinegar. That's exciting to men. That brings men in, and it suckers men into like, yeah, I do want to be better, because men are always wanting to improve. Women aren't. Women aren't out here always trying to improve. They're just out here trying to find their next lick, find their next guy to manipulate, find their next guy to take money off of. That's all they're doing, is selling themselves, selling sex. Guys are always trying to improve so we can get sex. Women are never trying to improve. Even the fat, overweight ones are like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I just, it doesn't matter how I eat. Doesn't matter if I hit the gym. Guys are still hitting on me. And guys are. There's always suckers out here, simps who are always hyping her up, telling her she's this, telling her she's that, right? And this is the difference between men and women, is that men are always trying to improve themselves, and guys know this, and they're like, okay, so yeah, let me sucker these guys in with this self-help pill, this motivation pua pill, along with the red pill, and it's just like, it's bananas. It really has to stop. But anyway, I've talked about this before, and I'll probably talk about it again, because it's always something that comes up. But I just want to talk about that. I hope y'all are doing well. Appreciate you listening. It's Jay Lee, Northwest Podcast. Peace.